Beep, beep, beep. It's over. So we have dragged our fetid carcasses through the period that is Christmas, and it was lovely to take a break of a few days because I've not done that for over a year, and it was lovely to do so, not least of all because it made me into some kind of strange observer watching you lot go mental. It's been great. I mean, you know, the stuff people cook for Christmas. Yorkshire puddings with a Christmas dinner. Are you mad? There, see, that's the kind of row that I've seen having. Somebody else had their Christmas dinner with baked beans. Sorry, leave, go away. So what we've got here is a kind of mini Christmas review, which I didn't expect to be doing because I thought, well, it'll go quiet now. There won't be much going on. Bloody hell. Could I have been more wrong than to say the words, there isn't very much going on? Come here. Right, so a kind of mini Christmas review because there's been like loads going down. I didn't expect it to be happening, but there has. There's been some lovely stories from people about what they've been watching, which is great. You know, people who don't like Die Hard. What's wrong with you? You nutters, right? And then there's been other nonsense that erupted because of something that happened on GB News. Have you seen GB News when Andrew Doyle walks off? It was so funny. Well, the three of them messing about, and Andrew Doyle walked off. This was on Christmas Day, right? So on Christmas Day they did that. And the nutters have gone mad. Oh, GB News, Andrew Doyle. I don't think they understand satire. I don't think they understand humour. They didn't realise that that this was a setup. It's like, what's wrong with now? I'm being a little bit cruel here because, of course, a number of times I've fallen for stuff on Twitter that ain't true, satire, and gone, you know, look! But we fall for it and then we recognise it and go, for God's sake, they got me. These loons are incredible. Now, they're all going around now chasing Andrew Doyle, moaning that he blocks everybody. Why block everybody? If you're a nutter, I block you. There's no point in talking to you. None. I'm not there to waste my time with you critical social justice lunatics. It's just that simple, right? So that happened. And then what else happened that I was surprised by? Oh, yeah, the BBC. BBC? Who have put out a documentary about Noel Coward, right? Noel Coward, of all people, Noel Coward, for God's sake. And they put out this documentary of Noel Coward. And on Twitter, when they advertised it, they said he was a queer in a very straight world. Oh, my God. Oh, my God, right? Let alone the fact that queer, as in they know the word queer, as in queer theory, as in boundary breaking, we're coming for your, you know, your normality, your mentality, and your kids. They're now applying that to Noel Coward. I mean, you just think, right, okay, how far back are you going to go? Who are they going to queer next? Well, they've already done Joan of Arc. I mean, didn't they do Joan of Arc? I'm sure they did Joan of Arc, right? Queering Joan of Arc. They did. I'm sure they did, right? So now they're doing it to Noel Coward, of all people. Now, when Noel Coward was born, which was many, many, many years ago, obviously he died in 78, I think, or something. He was born many years ago. The word queer meant peculiar and unusual and striking. Right? So you'd see something that was striking, you know, and you go, how very queer. I just did that Noel Coward's voice. How very queer. What a queer thing that is. That's how Noel Coward would have understood the word queer. Right? Not as in this bunch of bloody nut jobs, the look a bit cute. Hands, knees and bumps daisy people who are just insane. They don't get it, but they've queered a gay hero. Oh, that didn't go down too well, as you will see. I've stuck a link to some of this stuff in the Dubris, so you can have a look and see just exactly how bad it gets. Because it's just insane. There's a lovely story about Noel Coward, told, I believe, by Kenneth Williams, in a television programme that is one of my favourite of mine, called An Audience with Kevin... No, what's his name? Kenneth. An Audience with Kenneth Williams. If I can find the link to that on YouTube, I'll put it on, because I'd be interested to see what you lot make of it. I mean, it's of its time, so you need to be able to get the references, which might be difficult for anybody under the age of 60 or 50, right? But it's still very funny. And he told a story about the time that he met Noel Coward, right? And Kenneth says, in his audience with, that because he had a bad case of the piles, right? He had piles, so he was sat gingerly on this on this bowl, with his piles in warm water, trying to get his arse sorted out after he'd been on stage. And there was a knock on the door. And Kenneth said, oh, go away! Because he didn't want to, people to know he had piles. And a voice said, it's Noel. And Kenneth thought it was the theatre people messing about. He's, go away, go away. And all of a sudden the door burst open and Noel Coward, who wasn't a small man by any means, he was over 6 foot, walked into the room. Kenneth jumped up with no trousers on from the po and was terribly embarrassed, at which point Noel Coward said to him, "My dear boy, don't be embarrassed. Don't have to tell me anything about the horrors of piles. You can read about it in my book, Past Indicative. Have you read my book, Past Indicative?" Kenneth was like, "Oh, I don't. Yes, nothing. You tell me nothing about the horrors of piles." To which Kenneth replies, being a smartass, "I didn't have piles. I've got papili." And Noel Coward responded with, "Papili? My dear, that's an island in the South Seas." Which I always loved, right? So I'll put a link to it in there if I can. So that. There's the kind of lunacy. Queering Noel Coward at Christmas, right? Let's queer Noel Coward at Christmas. Now, then they've got Doctor Who, right? With this bloke sort of prancing around like some John Inman with a TARDIS, right? It's surreal. We have literally gone from the 1970s, where every gay man was John Inman or Larry Grayson, oh, shut that door and I'm free. They had to have a catchphrase so that the public could gently get used to the fact that they were feminine gay men. We've now got one in the TARDIS pretending to be John Inman. A Time Lord based on a 1970s department store middle manager. And you just think it can't get any worse. It just keeps going. It just keeps going and it just keeps going. So that, right, we've had that. Okay, that's over Christmas as well. So that's something that's sort of come along and gone, "Hello, how's your father?" Right? And then I found this, which is just glorious, right? Okay. Which is from Rebecca Says No. Now, some of you may know Rebecca Says No. Rebecca Says No does a lot of work online, right? This had me laughing for a good 5 minutes. Found a post on Twitter. A post on Twitter, which I thought was this is definitely funny, right? From a Scottish feminist net, who said, responding to a mad TRA nut job, right? "You are making claims. You are making the claims. Provide your evidence for your claim that gender identity is more real than Santa." Right? The things we get up to. Sorry, you are making the claim. Provide your evidence that gender identity is more real than Santa. Right? To which this person called Anna Cunningham, looks like a natter to me, right, responds with, "Santa as a person is not real." You think, Hannah? Santa as a person is not real. Santa as a concept or a character is real. Oh, right, okay, thanks for telling us. In that way, gender identity is at least as real as Santa. Quite frankly, that made my Christmas, right? So there you go. There's a mini review of Christmas. What the hell else can happen between now and New Year? It's good to be back. I'll see you later.